She arrived at the municipal hospital with torn clothes, asking to pray for the sick in exchange for nothing more than a meal. The doctors laughed, the nurses mocked, until they witnessed something science cannot explain. Before I continue, I want to ask you a sincere question. Are you ready to answer Mary's call for your life? If your answer is yes, comment, "I'm ready." And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because here, miracles happen every day. It was a typical Monday morning at the municipal hospital when Grace Harper appeared at the reception desk. Her 60 years looked like 80. Worn-out clothes, holey sandals, messy gray hair. But her eyes carried something different, a light that contrasted with her fragile appearance. "Excuse me," she said to Linda, the receptionist, who was furiously typing as she tried to manage the morning chaos. Linda didn't even look up. "Appointment slips are only in the afternoon. Emergency is in the building next door." "I didn't come for an appointment," Grace said softly. "I came to offer prayers." Now Linda stopped typing. "Prayers? For the sick. In exchange, if possible, a meal. I haven't eaten since yesterday." Dr. Andrew, who was passing by carrying medical charts, overheard the conversation and stopped. "You're offering prayers in exchange for food?" "Yes, doctor. Our Lady gave me this gift. I can help those who are suffering." Linda burst out laughing. "Look, lady, this isn't a restaurant or a church. It's a hospital. We have medicines, surgeries, real treatments." "I didn't come to compete with medicine," Grace answered calmly. "I came to compliment it." Dr. Andrew studied the woman. As head of the emergency room, he had seen it all. "What kind of gift do you think you have?" Grace pulled from her pocket a worn-out rosary and a small image of the Virgin Mary. "Since childhood, when I pray with true faith, impossible things happen." "Impossible like what?" he asked, more curious than skeptical. "People who were given no hope but recover." Linda and Dr. Andrew exchanged glances. Linda made a gesture at her temple with her finger, indicating Grace was crazy. "All right," Dr. Andrew said. "I'll make a test. We have a patient in room 315, Maggie, 45 years old, diabetic. She came in yesterday with a foot wound that hasn't healed in 6 months. She's scheduled for amputation tomorrow because it developed gangrene." Grace felt her heart tighten. "May I see her?" "You may, but let me make it clear. That wound has been evaluated by 4 different specialists. There is no saving it. If you manage to heal this with prayer, I'll personally pay for your meals for a month." They went up to the 3rd floor. In room 315, Maggie was lying down, clearly depressed. Her daughter Emily held her hand, crying softly. "Mom, you have to be strong. After the surgery, you'll be able to walk normally again." "Emily, I'll be crippled at 45. How will I work? How will I provide for you?" Dr. Andrew knocked on the door. "Mrs. Maggie, I brought someone who would like to meet you." Maggie looked at Grace and frowned. "Who are you?" "My name is Grace. I came to pray for you, if you allow me." Emily stood up defensively. "Pray? Doctor, my mom needs a doctor, not prayers." "Emily," Maggie interrupted, "let her. At this point, any help is welcome." Grace approached the bed. "May I see the wound, doctor?" Andrew hesitated. The wound was covered with bandages, and even so, the smell was strong. "Mrs. Grace, it's not a pleasant sight." "Doctor, I've seen much suffering in life." He carefully removed the bandage. The wound was horrible, black in several areas with pus. Emily had to leave the room. Grace did not flinch. She knelt by the bed and placed her hands over the wound without touching it. "Maggie, do you believe in miracles?" "I once did. Now I'm not sure anymore." "Our Lady never gives up on us. Shall we pray together?" Grace began to pray in a low voice. "Holy Mary, Mother of God, in the hour of our anguish." Something strange began to happen. The wound, which had a strong odor, began to smell different, like flowers. Dr. Andrew frowned, wondering if he was imagining it. Grace continued praying for 20 minutes. Maggie, initially skeptical, found herself joining the prayers with growing fervor. When they finished, Grace stood up. "God has heard our prayers." "How can you be so sure?" Dr. Andrew asked. "Because I can feel when Our Lady is at work." Dr. Andrew examined the wound again and looked puzzled. It seemed different, less inflamed perhaps, but it could have been just an impression. "Doctor, may I ask a favor?" Grace said. "Examine the wound tomorrow morning before the surgery. If there's no improvement, proceed with the amputation as planned." "Mrs. Grace, with all due respect, this wound will not improve in 12 hours. If Our Lady wills, it will." The next morning, Dr. Andrew arrived early at the hospital. He had slept poorly, thinking about the strange woman and her prayers. He decided to examine Maggie before the surgery, more out of curiosity than hope. He entered room 315. Maggie was awake, but something was different. She was smiling. "Doctor, you won't believe this." "What is it, Mrs.?" "Maggie, the pain is gone. All night long I didn't feel anything." Dr. Andrew approached the bed. "Let's take a look." When he removed the bandage, he nearly fell backward. The wound that had been black and necrotic the day before now showed pink, new tissue, healing. The gangrene had literally vanished. "This is impossible," he murmured. He called other doctors. Dr. Sandra Mendez, the surgeon, examined the wound 3 times. "Andrew, this doesn't make any medical sense. It doesn't just regress like that. And look here, there's new tissue growing." "Doctor," Maggie said, "that lady was right. It was a miracle." Dr. Andrew was confused. He grabbed the medical chart and reviewed the photos taken the day before. It was clearly the same wound, but completely transformed. "Where is the woman who prayed with you?" "I don't know, doctor. She disappeared after the prayer." Dr. Andrew ran down to the reception desk. Linda was in her usual spot. "Linda, that woman from yesterday, the one who prayed, where is she?" "What woman?" "Grace, the one who asked for food in exchange for prayers." Linda looked at him as if he were crazy. "Doctor, what are you talking about? No woman came here asking for food." "What do you mean? You laughed at her. You called her crazy." "Doctor, I think you must be mistaken. I've worked here for 10 years. I would remember a conversation like that." Dr. Andrew grew desperate. He asked other staff members, but no one remembered Grace. It was as if she had never existed. He ran back to room 315. Maggie was still there, her wound miraculously healed. "Mrs. Maggie, describe to me again the woman who prayed with you." "Gray hair, simple clothes, about 60 years old. She had a rosary in her hands and an image of Our Lady." "Anything else?" Maggie thought for a moment. "She had the kindest eyes I've ever seen in my life. And when she was praying, I swear I saw a golden light surrounding her." 3 days later, Dr. Andrew was still disturbed by Maggie's case when his assistant came running. "Doctor, there's a strange situation in room 220. "What situation?" "The boy, Ethan, the one who arrived in the ICU with severe pneumonia. His parents said that a woman appeared in the room during the night and prayed with them. In the morning, the boy was breathing normally." Dr. Andrew's heart raced. "What woman?" "No one knows. Security said they didn't see anyone enter, but the boy came off the ventilator and is asking for food." They rushed to room 220. Ethan, 8 years old, who had been given no hope 12 hours earlier, was sitting on the bed playing with a toy car. "How do you feel, champ?" Dr. Andrew asked. "Good. The pretty lady said I was going to get better." "What lady?" "The one who came to visit me at night. She wore grandma clothes and prayed with me." Ethan's mother, Mrs. Sarah, stepped closer. "Doctor, I was here all night. No one came into this room, but around 3 a.m., Ethan suddenly started breathing better." Dr. Andrew examined the boy. His lungs, which had been completely compromised, were now working perfectly. "This is not possible," he murmured. But things were only just beginning. The following night, Dr. Andrew stayed at the hospital monitoring the cameras together with 2 security guards. At 2:47 a.m., something extraordinary appeared on the screens. A female figure was walking through the corridors, but the image was strange, half translucent, wrapped in a soft light. She entered the rooms, remained for a few minutes, and then left. "Do you see this?" Dr. Andrew asked the guards. "See what, doctor? The screen looks normal." For the guards, the corridors appeared empty. Only Dr. Andrew could see the mysterious figure. She headed toward room 505, where Mr. Henry, suffering from liver cirrhosis, was hospitalized. Dr. Andrew rushed there. When he arrived at the room, he found the woman, Grace, kneeling beside the bed, praying. She was real, solid, but seemed to glow with an inner light. "Grace," he whispered softly, so as not to wake the patient. She turned and smiled. "Hello, Dr. Andrew. I knew you would find us again." "Who are you really?" "I am only a servant of Our Lady. She sent me to help those who need it most." "But you disappeared. No one remembers you." "Because I am not meant to be remembered. What should be remembered are the miracles." Grace went back to praying. Dr. Andrew watched as Mr. Henry, yellowed from jaundice, began to regain a normal skin tone. How is this possible? Faith, doctor. When we pray with true faith, Our Lady intercedes for us before her Son. When Grace finished the prayer, Mr. Henry was visibly better. She stood up and walked toward the window. "Grace, wait! Don't leave. My work here is done, doctor." "But there are so many people still in need." She smiled with infinite tenderness. "Now it is up to you. You have learned that medicine is not only science, it is also love, faith, and hope. How can I continue your work? By praying for your patients, by treating each one as if they were your own family. Our Lady will always be present whenever you act with true love." Grace approached the window, which strangely opened on its own. A golden light began to envelop her. "Grace, how can I prove that you existed?" She took from her neck a small chain with a medal of Our Lady and handed it to him. "The true miracles, doctor, are not the healings of the body, they are the transformations of the heart." And she vanished. Dr. Andrew was left alone in the room holding the medal. He looked at Mr. Henry, who slept peacefully, now without any signs of jaundice. 6 months later, the municipal hospital had become known for the inexplicable cases of recovery. Dr. Andrew never told the press about Grace, but he implemented revolutionary changes. He installed a chapel in the hospital. He created prayer groups with volunteer staff. He trained the team to treat patients with more affection and spiritual attention. The results were extraordinary. Recovery rates improved by 40%. Complaints decreased drastically. The hospital became a model for others. Dr. Andrew always wore the medal of Our Lady under his coat. And every night before leaving, he stopped by the rooms of the most serious patients for a silent prayer, because he had learned that miracles never stop happening. They are only waiting for hearts willing to believe that the impossible becomes possible when we ask with faith, humility, and genuine love for our neighbor. And whenever someone asked about the unexplained healings, he would answer, "Sometimes God sends angels disguised as simple people who ask only for a meal in exchange for bringing heaven to earth." The medal on his neck glowed softly, as if approving his words. And perhaps this story has reached you for a reason. Because miracles are not only extraordinary events, they are reminders from heaven that God has not forgotten us, and that the Virgin Mary walks silently through the darkest corridors of our pain. If you believe that Our Lady still performs miracles today, write in the comments, "Mary, go ahead of me," and subscribe to the channel to walk with us through real and moving stories of Mary's miracles. Because wherever Mary arrives, the impossible becomes possible.